want to welcome everybody to the Biloxi City Council meeting for Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules? Moved by George Lawrence. Do I have a second? Second by Paul Tisdale. I'm going to do the invocation first before we move the agenda. Well, gentlemen, if you would, thank you. We have Pastor Chad Kraft from the Gulf Coast Pentecostals. If you would, sir, provide the invocation. I want to thank you and the rest of your crew from the Pentecostal Church for the spread you guys put out there.
Income than expense. There always be more hope than hopelessness. That there always be more peace than unrest. Heal our land, protect our city, bless the homes and the health and the families of our city council. Bless these men and women as they are on the front lines, carrying the load of this, carrying the brunt of this. Order the steps of our city council and give them supernatural wisdom. Bless our leadership. Keep your hand of protection on them. Let every city, let every church in this city be a lighthouse to those that are broken and needy. And let us lead in unity. God, we need you now more than ever before. We ask for your help. In Jesus' name. Everybody, amen?
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Kraft. Chief Miller, will you lead us in the pledge? To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Pink on it. He's presenting them. All right, great. He's presenting them a proclamation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. In the council, I would like to revive your motion and Council Tisdale's second.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Motion carries unanimously. If you would read the additions, please.
Hello. To our consent agenda, we're substituting item 5E, the exhibit only, which deals with AG Cable and Pipe Incorporated. And to our routine agenda, we're adding a docket in the amount of $413,039.32.
I move as amended.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Lawrence, a second by Paul Tisdale. Any discussion? There being none, I call for the question. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Will bring us to the presentation agenda.
Yeah,
Mr.
thank
Mayor.
you, Mr. President. Well, welcome everyone here today, and the Pentecostals of the Gulf Coast, they did a tremendous job, and it's a great group, and it's good to have them here supporting us in our endeavors to, to pray and go forward with life as it rolls out to us. I do have just a couple of things. We got a delegation, Wendy Fayard and Michael Ubi Kovacevic from the Shrimp Festival to make a little presentation to us, and I'd like to invite them up. This is the 91st, Wendy? The 91st? Yeah, so. Wendy's going to present this. This is the poster that was chosen, selected for this year's Shrimp Festival.
On behalf of the Blessing of the Fleet Committee, we would like to thank the mayor and the council for y'all's continued support for us to be able to continue this heritage here in Biloxi, and we're excited about celebrating the 91st Blessing of the Fleet.
Great, thank you, Wendy. I think, yeah, sure. And I can see it in my office. You know.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
I think with the, if you want to, you know, the coronation is set for this weekend. We don't know whether the weather will hold out, but we may do the
Planning, we're gonna go forward with the UC SMAS on Thursday. Then we will do the coronation on Saturday. And right now, the way the weather's looking, you may cancel Blessing for Sunday and
postpone.
for the following
Right.
Sunday.
Well, great. That's a tremendous tradition, and we thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. I think Vincent wanted me to do these coronavirus numbers, but we've been watching this. We talked about the flat curve, and we've been running a 14-day average and watching it bounce up. And we kind of pay attention. Back on the 20th, I think we were average new cases a day was like 2.39. It bounced up and down. It has risen from, I guess, a low of 1.57 over the last several days to about 3.07. But today, I think, and a lot of it could be related to a data dump on how much was tested, 7 or 8 days ago and came in. But we're holding steady over the last 3 days at 3.07. So that's a number we want to watch. And as things bounce, you don't know what has happened with regard to, the opening up of the bars, the restaurants, the churches, and graduations and everything else you could think. So it's a number that we're going to watch. And if there's some significant action that's not explained, we'll take some initiative on trying to discourage those
How many deaths, Mayor?
I think it was 765. I believe.
Harrison County?
Oh, it's just 2 new cases in Harrison County. No new deaths.
The total since this thing started is what?
767. Yeah, 16,000 total cases, and about 7,000 of them have been gotten through it too. So anyway, that's a complex deal. But I think again, what we're watching is that the health care facilities are not overwhelmed, and we're not short on PPE and some of the other things. Hand washing and social distancing is emphasized on everything from ball. I think we had 5 ball fields play this week, and it worked out well. We're looking at some dance recitals and kind of laying out things that within our facilities that will make it possible. But the whole idea, this is the tail of the tape, and we don't want to do anything that really. I think on the coast we're blessed. We've off to a good reopening, I think, with casinos and hopefully the sales tax and some of those things with trying to close the hole that we've already been thrown our way. We'll be watching that, and we like to be optimistic on where we are, and I think Biloxi's sitting there. Biloxi's a good bet, and that's what we want to see. I know from we had a pretty good few weekends. I know a lot of folks were there, and we'll just pay attention. We'll together we'll make it happen. And I think before I forget, let's spread the travel expense cards to the minutes. Biloxi travel expense credit card. And I don't know where Michael, but I think that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We don't have any departmental reports today. Do we? Do we have an Oscar
No.
or anything?
None.
We'll move to the council reports. I'll begin with Councilman Lawrence.
You have a couple of things that, first, I thought it was extremely nice that Pastor Kraft brought his crew in here said they're praying for us, but we need all the prayers we can get. And the food was awesome. So we want to thank you for doing that and thinking about the city of Biloxi and the city council and administration. Appreciate that. Question to Wendy. Would you come up here, Wendy? By the mic where? And the reason I'm asking you this question, because I know I talked to the Billfish tournament, they moved theirs to next week. Is there any way if something happens, you would possibly not have the boat parade, or you have other plans?
Yes, we're
Pick it to the
going,
mic so they can hear.
we're going to go forward with the coronation, which will be Saturday night. And we're keeping that very minimum, not open to the public, just the girls inviting some of their families. Then, right now, the blessing was scheduled for Sunday, but from the plans that the weather looks like today, we're probably going to call it off and reschedule it for the following Sunday.
All right.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
And-
Appreciate y'all keeping this going. Like you said, it's been 91, 92
Oh,
years.
no,
It's a great thing, you know.
It will happen.
It's a great
We promise
tradition.
you.
George was the first king.
Yeah.
Miss
No, believe it or
Wendy,
not, the first king was my grandfather, Luke
No,
Kujus, 1958.
Yeah, we will have the blessing, but Sunday it probably will not happen. We're probably going to make that call tomorrow. That way we can get it on social media, let all the boats know, and schedule it for the following Sunday.
No, really, I wanted you to say that on TV.
Okay.
That way people watching it, because a lot of people they want to go out there for the party and everything, to have the
We
blessing.
want all the boats, welcome, all the pleasure boats, all the working boats, to please, come out and get their boats blessed. And it'll be at 2 o'clock, and it will be that following Sunday.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Thank
Miss
y'all.
Wendy, excuse me. Would you grab her?
Thank you. That's it for me.
Would you just state her name for the record?
Chief Ayard with the
Blessing of the Fleet?
Thing of the Fleet Committee. Yeah, she's
Thank you.
a fair person.
Councilman Barrett?
I don't have a report today. I do have one thing real quick. Mike, on the sidewalk project, do we have any kind of update on that?
Well, it's
Or-
next year's money, so all we can do is design this year. It's
Next year's-
2021 MDOT money,
Okay.
but I'll,
But the design is.
tomorrow, and the design was awarded, the council awarded the design, as I recall, it's to Machado Patano, and they're working, and I'll give you an update tomorrow.
Okay, that's all I have.
Councilwoman Newman, excuse me?
Pastor Kraft, God bless you, and please keep us in your prayers as well as the nation. We're going through some crazy times right now, and we all could use them as a nation. And I have a quick question about splash pads. People keep reaching out and asking, when are we going to open those? I keep telling them that we're waiting on numbers and see where we're at before we do something like that, right? Okay, thank you.
Councilman Tisdale?
Yes, thank you. 2 things. One, I'd like to thank Pastor Kraft and his church and the membership tonight for the meal and the prayers. Again, to echo what previous council member said. Second thing is, I know that we were talking about the wellness program with Blue Cross Blue Shield and trying to get that kicked off with our employees. And then we're worried about the virus, and I'd like to see us just continue to get the word out to our staff to educate our employees in the city, because on the insurance committee, we were talking about looking at some data, and there's not going to be much data to look at this year in order to make some decisions about what we're looking at in terms of health insurance for next year. So it's getting to be that time where we'll be talking about insurance again. I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of data to look to at this point, but we want to continue this wellness and push that with our employees, really, to have folks take advantage of that so that it remains affordable. We can continue to provide them with the insurance that they're getting. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman Tisdale. Councilman Glavin?
Yeah, first of all, I'd also like to thank Pastor Kraft for your prayers for us. We're certainly praying hard and we're working hard to get things better. And on that note, I'd like to talk about the baseball youth program started back, like the mayor mentioned. And we were well below the governor's recommended numbers. I was out there, I coached one of the teams, and we were keeping count. There was 125 players and coaches on 5 fields, and there was 175 spectators, and that kept us below the limit. So everybody is doing their part to ensure that Little League Baseball is going to have an abbreviated season. They play a couple of games a week for 4 weeks, but I'm telling you, those kids getting a hit, catching a ball, making an error, all that good stuff, they're glad to be out there, and we certainly are too. That's real important. Wendy, thank you and your committee and all the hardworking folks. My dad was Shrimp King in 2006 after, Katrina, and that is a tradition that is approaching its centennial itself, and something we stand tall and proud to see. It may not be as glorious as it was last year, but it certainly is heartfelt and very important to our community. I think that's going to conclude my report today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Glavin. Councilman Guines?
Yes, thank you again, Pastor Kraft, for everything and all the food. I want to speak on a little bit about what Dixie said. Our country is going through a lot, and I want to especially thank our police officers and our Chief Miller. As a black male, we go through this. I have a story just like a lot of the other people, and Chief Miller, I met him back in 2011 before I was a councilman because of an incident like that. I had an officer come to my door looking for a family member that didn't live with me and tried to walk in my door without a warrant or anything and without asking. And we bumped chests. And out of fear, I called 911. Well, the long story short is I was arrested and taken downtown and handcuffed. And when I was taken downtown and handcuffed, I went to see the chief every day for about 3 weeks. You remember that, Chief? Every single day to let him know what happened, because I didn't feel like that was right, because you don't come inside someone's home without asking. And then I got arrested for abuse of 911 because I was scared. Every black male goes through that. Well, when I went to court, well, the judge said you were wrong and the officers were wrong. So it cut a $600 ticket down to $300. That was my saving grace. With $300, I guess that's nothing compared to a life. So, Chief Miller, I said all that to say this. That dialogue that I had with Chief Miller years ago before I became a councilman, going to him every day for 3 weeks, I met him in his office every morning. Most of the time I beat him there, waiting for him to tell him, hey, this is wrong and this is not gonna happen. And I hope that that served in some sense for our city to show how great our city is, that he listened to me. And it developed the relationship that we have now. When we have issues, I feel comfortable going to him, straightening out issues. We have to pray for our country. We have to pray for our city. I'm so glad that we're in Biloxi, and I'm so glad that we have the chief that we have. So thank you, Chief Miller. I just wanted to get that out because that, it resonated from years ago. So thank you, Chief. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Felix. And I can't say anything now. There's nothing I can follow that with. No, I really had nothing else to say. So with that, we'll move on to the policy agenda. Oh, you're right. We haven't done this in a while. Now we're allowed to be back inside. We can have citizens' comments. So we'll open up the floor to citizens' comments. We have 45 minutes total, 3 minutes per person. If you would, please come to the seat where Mike Leonard is sitting, sign in, state your name and your address for the record. Do I have anybody on the right-hand side of the room, my left-hand side of the room, that would care to come up and speak? Do I have anybody on the right-hand side of the room, or excuse me, the left-hand side of the room, my right-hand side of the room, that would care to come up here and speak? Anyone in the back? There being none, we will now move to the policy agenda. So we have nothing on the policy agenda, we'll move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Got a motion by Paul Tisdale. Do I have a second? Second by George Lawrence. Paul, is there anything on the consent agenda you would care to discuss?
Not a thing, thank you.
Not a thing. Councilman Lawrence. This is going to be nice.
That was for you.
Councilwoman Newman. Councilman Glavin.
I had something on item B, but it's been taken care of already, discussed it, so I'm good.
Councilman Guines.
I'm good.
Councilman Barrett. Nothing. There being no discussion on the consent agenda, call for the question. All in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Do we have any objections to any of the items on the consent agenda? Let it be noted, it passes unanimously. We'll move forward to code enforcement hearings.
None.
Is Mr. Creel, oh, we don't have any code enforcement hearings either.
Good day.
So the routine agenda, we
I'll
do
make-
have some bills to pay, I assume.
I'll make that motion that we pay those bills.
All right, there's a motion by Paul Tisdale and a second by Dixie Newman. Discussion, Councilman Tisdale,
Not a thing.
Councilwoman Newman. Anybody else on the
I don't know if
board?
Walt has anything to tell us on the money.
Mr. Rhodey, if you'd state your name and your position.
Yes, Walter Rhodey, in charge of the infrastructure program. We have no funding coming in yet from MEMA. That is because we had received quite an amount of money some time ago for advances and reimbursements. So far, the amount of money we received compared to our bills, we won't receive any more until we have some more costs, which is a good thing. So we've got plenty in reserve for now. On another note, I just got informed by my inspector, the contractor finally installed the black high-density polyethylene pipe adjacent to the old Biloxi Cemetery. So we have it installed, and the contractor will start hooking up the 16-inch water main. That's something we've waited on for
Since April 2016.
2 years, since April 2018, I believe. No.
About 2 years. When they discovered the bones?
Some time ago.
You couldn't get an answer from him?
A while back.
That's good enough for government work.
That's right. It's all paid for, luckily, so that was good. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodey. Any further discussion, Mr. Lawrence?
None.
Gentlemen? There being none, I call for the question. All in favor, signal to raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. I'll entertain a motion to recess. I'll make it. Motion by Councilman Barrett, second by Felix Guines. All in favor? Again, motion carries unanimously. We are in recess.
Thank you.